Good afternoon, Quad Cities. Meteorologist Andrew Stutsky along with weather anchor Peter Warner here on a Wednesday afternoon. It is just 5 minutes after the 12 o'clock hour, and we're back on the A+ app here exclusively for right now because we are tracking an active severe thunderstorm warning that is currently ongoing for parts of our region.
Yes, right out in Knox County, the eastern portion, just to the east of Galesburg, is kind of where the base of this is starting.
Yeah, we've been watching the radar loop here, and this storm has ramped up just a little bit more than what it looked like a few minutes ago. And you'll notice at the top right of your screen, this says tornado development possible. So that comes right from the National Weather Service. This is warned right now for winds of 60 miles an hour, but it also has that tag that a tornado is possible at this time. So we're really going to be keeping a close eye on this. That severe thunderstorm warning goes until 12:30. It is for eastern Knox County, kind of right in the center of Knox County in the eastern part. So this does not include Galesburg, but it does include Victoria, Williamsfield, and then getting into Stark County, much of Stark County. You've got Toulon in there. So we're going to do a little poking around here through the radar fields themselves. Again, we're in between two radar sites, so we're going to have to do a little bit of a manipulation, if you will, between the two radar sites to see if we can see any rotation. We'll put a loop on this and see if we can find out anything in particular. I don't see anything standing out to me right now.
I'm not seeing too much here either.
In terms of rotation, if I was to guess what may have gotten their attention, again, this is the National Weather Service office in Lincoln, Illinois, that's issuing that. They're likely looking at something that is probably right within here, where we're getting some of these stronger winds along with some of these weaker winds. I'm also going to go to our rotation product really quickly too, just to see if anything pops up on here. And this sometimes take a second or two to load in this data. So we'll give it that brief moment here. And there it is there. There you can see a little bit.
Yep.
Very weak rotation as we go into that particular region there. So something we're really going to have to keep an eye on here as we go throughout the next 20 minutes or so. Again, that severe thunderstorm warning with tornado possible tagged for parts of Knox County going into Stark County at this hour. Peter, I think we have the wall up. Do you want to drive the radar, or do you want to be on the wall?
I can.
You want to do some
wall?
wall?
We can do the wall over here.
Yeah. So kind of pointing out, where this rotation is and where this is potentially going to be going.
Yeah, so this is tracking again, this system. It's an east-northeast system. That's kind of what we've been seeing here today. And that's where we're seeing the wind speeds and the directions moving it. So it'll make its way here just again to the east of Knoxville. And it's going to carry its way further, again, east-northeast, up towards Toulon. That's kind of the general line of this. These wind speeds are around, I'd say, 60 miles per hour potentially here within this system, Andrew, you said?
Yeah, we're looking at 60 mile per hour wind gusts possible with this storm.
And was it right around this little couplet maybe up here was potentially where that was making its way through?
Just to the northwest of kind of Williamsburg there.
Yeah, that's where we're seeing it. Then there's, again, plenty of rainfall. There's that little higher velocity right there. You see that little darker portion just to the northwest of Williamsfield. That's kind of where that little rotation possibly we were seeing was here with this system. But again, it's very light, but it's just something we will continue keeping on here through about 12:30. That's when this warning is in effect till through 12:30, carrying up through Stark County here with this system. There's that time frame. So, Andrew, what is that, 12:15 Victoria?
Yep, 12:15 Victoria. You've got Kewanee in there too. And again, this is going to scrape just to the south, I think, of Kewanee. If you look at the radar loop here, and I'll put that on there for you, you can see, yeah, it's got that general northeast movement, but it could come awfully close. If you kind of watch that for a second, it does look like that could indeed kind of try and sneak its way up there to near Kewanee as we get closer to 12:30.
Yeah, it's definitely something to keep an eye on. It's some pretty good heavy rainfall also even near Kewanee right now. I know they're not part of the warning, but some of that more reddish pocket color up there near Kewanee right now. And then again, with this little rotation potential spot, there's that little couplet, some good pockets of a little bit more, some lightning making its way down right there too. Some good convection here with this system. And this is what we were kind of keeping an eye on. This is where we saw that potential threat here earlier in the day, where they've kind of built up a little bit more of that storm energy. We have a little bit more dew points too for the eastern portions here of the viewing area, the Illinois side of the river. Again, along that Highway 74, we were really focusing on here was that Highway 39, but it looks like it's shifted a little bit further to the west here with some of that storm energy. So yeah, there's that warning, 12:30 hail size, about 3/4 of an inch. It's about ping pong ball? No, not ping pong ball, pardon me. A little bit smaller than that, but.
What about nickel size?
Quarter to nickel?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's what we're about seeing with that.
And we'll throw the hail tracker on here real quick
Yeah.
too, so we can see what the hail probability is and where that may
There we
be.
go.
Yeah.
Decent pockets, yeah. Some medium moderate, I guess you could say, rainfall just near Victoria. That's kind of just a little bit to the north and to the east of we were seeing that potential spin up there near Knoxville.
You also watch the lightning data too, and you can clearly see kind of where that potential is, where you're ramping that up. Here's the hail size tracker, you know, not much too exciting, a little orange dot right now. So not much happening there. But what you really want to focus on is, of course, where is all the lightning, because that's where you tend to see kind of the ramp up in that storm itself. So you can see a lot of it concentrated there, kind of in that same zone where we were showing you some of that potential rotation possibly was. And yeah, there it is right there where Peter is currently pointing on the screen. There is where we may see that brief, quick spin up. And that is why the National Weather Service has gone ahead and put out that severe thunderstorm warning with that tag saying that tornado development is possible. Now, Galesburg, as you can see there, is getting some really heavy rain. I believe we have a live look that we can take from Galesburg right now. And yeah, the rain is certainly coming down there. Look at the size of the raindrops that are coming down. Very, very quickly. You've got reduced visibility along that Interstate 74 corridor too. So there you see the live look there from Galesburg. Now again, Galesburg is not in the threat at this time. You are not in the warning for this. This rotation that we're seeing observed on radar is actually just a little bit further to the northeast of you. So if you're east of Galesburg, especially north of Interstate 74 in eastern Knox County, that's the area of concern right now where we have this severe thunderstorm warning with that tag of tornado possible.
Yeah, I mean, you could even see that it almost looks like maybe some of that those little smaller droplets coming down are almost a little bit hail-like. You see that with that?
Yeah, I'm kind of noticing that too.
Yeah, did you see that? It's kind of like a couple weeks ago when we saw that in Sterling where it was kind of right in the middle when it was between that rain and hail mix, but that's where we're seeing that. But again, that's a pretty good pocket of rainfall. We're seeing a decent line making its way through that. Yeah, out near Galesburg, Woodhull might be seeing it, but more towards Oneida looks like you're kind of coming up here next with this system.
Yeah, and it's been a very quick, fast-moving, developing situation here because these storms have been churning southwest of us all morning long. And as we take the radar loop back, you'll see that yeah, these have been hanging out south of Macomb for several hours already this morning, but now they're starting to work into a little bit more of a favorable environment. And what's happening is we have a warm front that's lifting through the region right now. And sometimes these storms, as they cross that warm front, they can at times latch onto it and get a little bit better dynamics and start producing some spinning motion, if you will. So we'll put the warning back on the screen so you can see where that's at. You know, if you look at the velocity data on this, Peter, and I'm kind of looking at this tongue coming down before Toulon. You kind of see that?
Yep.
And then right down into this region, probably right into here, just east of Victoria is where we have some of that broad level rotation. Very broad at this time, nothing tight, where we have a concern for an immediate tornado at this time. But it's that broad area of rotation right there that we're really kind of keeping an eye on here with this warning for the next 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, that's definitely, yeah, here's that tongue that he was talking about, and you see that kind of broader band right there near Victoria, that changing of the colors almost. That's kind of how you can tell where we're seeing a little bit more of that change in wind speed and direction. And keep in note, this is kind of sandwiched, as Andrew was telling you about, right in between the Peoria, the Peoria radar and our Quad Cities radar. So you're kind of getting kind of the mix of the two. Because I mean, if you move it just a little bit further south, you're going to start to see that coloring change here. But yeah, see that coloring change. There's that potential maybe area from Victoria up towards Tulane. That's where we're keeping an eye on. Again, this is one of those areas where it's very difficult to kind of keep an eye and see where that rotation is because it's so far away from not only our radar, but their radar sandwiched right into the middle. That's what we're kind of trying to keep an eye on here. But you can kind of see that potential there. And again, there's that broad band near Victoria right there. What's that gate-to-gate shear? Not too much there you're seeing, but
yeah, a little too far away from the radar. That's the challenge with this landscape and this region is we're far away from not only Lincoln's radar, like Peter said, near Peoria, but we're also far away from the National Weather Service radar in the Quad Cities. But Peter, you're right. You know, when we switch to the Lincoln radar, which is where we're on right now, we kind of get a little better view of where the National Weather Service is likely focusing their attention for this warning, which is that area north of Millbrook here. It's now in southwestern Stark County, where we're seeing a little bit of rotation, especially actually on that radar scan. And again, it's a little easier to see it on the Lincoln scan. I'm going to try and switch this. Maybe we can go to storm relative velocity and get a little bit better detail. And there, yeah, it's kind of a little bit easier to see. Again, you kind of have this tongue coming down here from Stark County near Illinois 91 near Toulon, where it has a little bit of rotation focused in it there.
Yeah, that's kind of where we're seeing it. And again, it's a little bit broader still. Because notice, this is a pretty decent size kind of tongue you're seeing. It's not super defined. Obviously, with some of these spin-ups, you typically see a little bit more of a defined couplet. It's a little bit longer here, again, due to the distance from the radar. But that's definitely an area to keep an eye on. Again, Highway 91 just north of Toulon in Stark County. That's what we're seeing, that potential spin-up there. I don't think there's too much debris you could be seeing anywhere with this, but the wind speed and direction, yeah, notice again, see that kind of coloring as you get from Bishop Hill towards Toulon here. That's kind of why it's a little bit more difficult. But if you're near Toulon, yeah, maybe make sure to just be safe, find that safe space. You are on that severe thunderstorm warning, but that's kind of where we're potentially seeing that rotation, Andrew. I mean, and that's a pretty good color difference we're seeing right there right now as well.
It is. I'm watching the loop, Peter. If you look southwest of Toulon, where this all began, I can see why they went ahead and put that up. It's just south of Victoria. You get that little area of rotation going right into Toulon. And again, there's nothing on the ground right now, nothing confirmed to be on the ground right now, but there is the potential that at some point this could produce something here. So that's why we're watching this carefully. There you see it now north of Toulon. So that track following right within that severe thunderstorm warning, and it looks like it's going to go just to the north of Bradford. Bradford is included in that warning for right now, and it is heading in your direction. So I think we're going to go ahead and throw the tracker back on here and start trying to actively track where this thing is going to be heading next, because if it stays together or it begins to develop further, we could be talking about this becoming a threat that would move into southern Bureau County as we near the bottom of this hour, as we get closer to 12:30. So let's do that real quick. Let's pause the radar, kind of get our bearings here as to where that rotation is, and then let's go ahead and track that to the north and to the east. So again, should this hold together, there's your times of arrival, Peter, and I'll move those out of the way.
Oh, you're good.
I know it's kind of
a
bad placement. There we go. So again, nothing confirmed on the ground right now, and Peter's highlighting where this is going to be heading. We're moving to the north and to the east, generally speaking here. So we've got Bradford coming up at 12:26, Buda 3:32, Wyandotte at 12:38, 12:43 for Princeton, should it hang on. And then eventually we're going to get it into LaSalle County. But yeah, this is the first heads up for southern Bureau County. That's where we could potentially be seeing this situation move into, and then perhaps maybe even escalate a little bit as this storm comes in. And it's being far away from the radar, as we've explained, it's hard to see the finer details. We're looking way, way up in the tops of the storm. Most of the low-level circulation, as you know, happens in the lower portion of the storm. So the fact that we're this far away from the radar, we're kind of scanning the middle part of the storm. And that's where we have the rotation. The million-dollar question is, can you get that rotation to come to the lower part of the storm and start producing a tornado? And because of that fact of where it's at geographically speaking, that's why we have most likely this warning tagged with that tornado possible tag on it. It's a rough area.
Yeah, Andrew, it is. It's a little bit harder to kind of tell in that area. And this is that little couplet that we're potentially seeing here. I mean, some heavy pockets of rainfall. That, we can be pretty sure about with the rainfall and lightning. But as Andrew was saying, again, because the distance, that sonar kind of slowly rides a little bit higher up into the air as the Earth starts to curve further downward. So as we're further away, yeah, that's where you're going to be kind of making it a little bit more difficult to be seeing that potential spin up near the actual surface. But hail, yeah, we're definitely seeing some here out near Toulon right now, kind of following behind where that couplet is. It's a pretty straight kind of forward northeast path that we're seeing here with the system. Also near Lafayette right now, maybe some of that hail probability around a 50% you'd say about there, Andrew, with that bluish color, 25, 50% maybe.
I'd say we're about 50, yeah.
Yeah, with that. Then that darker blue color we're seeing just again to the west of Toulon right now. That'll continue to make its way further to the northeast. And this is something, again, we're keeping an eye on here as it makes its way into Bureau County within the viewing area. Ooh, that's some pretty heavy pockets of rainfall we're talking about here. Look at that. Some of that darkish pinkish color, and just to the northeast. 2.23 inches per hour. That's some heavy rainfall we're seeing. Again, pretty heavy pockets have picked up here within this system, within this line. making its way further to the northeast. And Andrew, about how much time would it be for around this area to make its way further into Bureau County here?
Sure, yeah, let's go back to radar and we'll put the tracker back on it. Again, if you're just joining us, you're on the 8 Plus app right now. Should this become more of a life-threatening situation, we will certainly go right to our normal airwaves, but this is part of our more extensive coverage that we offer you exclusively on the 8 Plus app. So what we're seeing right now, again, the strongest part of that storm, just getting into northern Stark County, that will eventually head into Bureau County. And we're watching, that little area right there. So we put those times back out there for you, and there you see them at the top of your screen. This is a severe thunderstorm warning until 12:30. It does include much of Stark County is included in that. And that is definitely something that we're going to be working on to work to get information in terms of if there's any ground truth to any reports that are going to be coming through with this storm here very shortly. So we're going to continue to watch this here. We've got about 10 more minutes or so, Peter, left on this to continue tracking this. Again, no confirmed reports as of right now, but it is definitely worth watching. I'm going to sneak into the National Weather Service chat if I can in Lincoln, just to see if there's any further updates on this right now. I got to scroll down to my history here, so give us a moment here while we continue to get some more information updated. Looks like just continuing that until 12:30. Still no reports, at least of anything right now.
Okay.
So that's good. Just some frequent lightning and then potential to see maybe 50 to 60 mile an hour wind gusts with this.
Yeah, I mean, those are still some damaging wind gusts even within this line that you could be seeing. And we do have that wind advisory, but within these storms, you're going to get a little bit of an embedded downdraft here with the system. And Andrew and I were looking at it yesterday. Some of the wind speeds further up aloft, again, this is at 18,000 feet. We're nearing almost 100 miles an hour. So just even a little bit of that making its way down here towards the surface into Stark County, potentially carrying into Bureau County. We saw it a little bit in Knox County too. That could be some strong winds, and that's where we're seeing these 60 mile per hour gusts right now. Wind speeds, again, it looks like that tongue is kind of starting to fade a little bit out that we were seeing earlier, right now into just southern portions of Bureau County. That's kind of where that tongue has made its way now. So again, keep in mind this area near Kewaunee, that's where those windmills are, so that kind of coloring isn't going to really indicate too much. But this is where we're focusing on that line of little thunderstorms making its way through. Again, we only have about 8 minutes left here, so not seeing too much. But do you see what I'm talking about there with that tongue, Andrew? It looks like it's kind of faded a little bit there with that rotation potentially.
Yes, and I was just reading while you were pointing that out from our National Weather Service office in the Quad Cities, because our office is in charge of Bureau County, which would be the next county where this storm is going to migrate to. They're saying that the wind signature and even the rotation signature is starting to ease a bit here. If it continues, they're not going to issue a severe thunderstorm warning for Bureau County. But if it does ramp back up, they will have to issue a warning. So right now, they're not planning on a severe thunderstorm warning for Bureau County. They're just advising, Peter, that this storm will have winds up to 50 miles an hour possible as it moves off to the northeast. So that's a bit of good news. Again, we've had no confirmations of any touchdowns, no spotted reports of funnel clouds or anything like that with this particular storm, but it has had some broad level rotation that looked a little bit healthier earlier, especially near Toulon. And it looks like as it's gone to the northeast here, it may have kind of worked out of an environment that was a little bit more favorable for it to try and produce something. But still, it looks like at least we have some issues with some wind that'll be working into southern Bureau County here shortly within a matter of minutes, including some 50 mile an hour wind gusts. So there's some good news on that, Peter. That severe thunderstorm warning will expire likely at 12:30. That's for Stark County. And again, unless something else ramps up here in the next few minutes, our National Weather Service office here in the Quad Cities is saying they're not planning on issuing a new severe thunderstorm warning downstream of that into Bureau County.
Yeah, that's definitely some good news to hear. Yeah, and again, we were pointing out potential, broadband rotation. Nothing completely significant, but yeah, it looks like that's kind of died off. I mean, it's still a pretty good line where, yeah, you could be seeing those 50 mile per hour gusts. Maybe, I don't know, knock a couple little smaller branches maybe potentially off with those gusts. Maybe knock over a garbage can or two. But beyond that, just, yeah, some strong winds making their way through within this line, but still heavy pockets of rainfall. I mean, within those little even darker red cores, maybe that's where we could be seeing some of the hail. That's where we kind of saw that hail core making its way through from Tulum further up into northeast. Yeah, there's that hail core right there right now. That's going to kind of continue into Bureau. Not saying they haven't talked about, did they talk about the hail at all in there, Andrew? Or?
No hail threat yet, and I think that's just because we haven't received any reports.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, that's good news then, 'cause, I mean, yeah, we saw the probability, but if there's no reports, might not mean it's making its way down there. But yeah, with the strong winds we are seeing with these systems, some pretty good updraft. But hail size, yeah, nothing we're seeing there so far.
Nothing there, which is good. That's
That
what
is
we
good
want to
news.
see.
That's what we like to see, is none of that, hail potential. Then rotation, let's see, we'll wait for this for a second. Yeah, nothing anymore, because we did see that earlier. Just over here, we saw that's potential rotation. But yeah, really not seeing a lot here anymore.
Yeah, that also looks a lot better too. The rotation tracker showing a little bit of it there when it was in Knox County, north of Williamsfield. We were tracking that earlier right here when this whole storm first became warned. But you can see since then, as this storm has traveled into Stark County, we have not seen any additional signs of rotation. So that's some really, really good news there. Like Peter said, the rainfall with these storms is really impressive. We're getting a lot of that Gulf moisture in here now, and some of the rainfall rates have been exceeding 2 inches per hour. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to get 2 inches. It means that if that storm were to just sit there in the same location for an hour, it would cause 2 inches of rain to fall.
Yes.
So that's what we talk about, those rainfall rates. I am curious, Peter, and we'll pull you back up here too, the storm energy that we have been kind of watching and tracking, and how this has progressed or how this has evolved so far. Notice that this storm is just on the outer edge of it, and that's kind of one of the things you need to get these storms going.
Yeah, we were kind of, for our system today, what we were focusing on is, well, would we get the sunlight and, build up that storm energy? Because if that storm energy kind of creeped its way further here towards our southeastern counties, that's where we kind of had that potential. Earlier today, we were at a level at 3 out of 5 threat, but because the storm energy has actually tracked itself further to the south and to the east, that's allowed us to actually kind of alleviate that elevated threat risk. That threat risk we've had earlier has shifted. I mean, there's still that little bit building up near Ottumwa, pardon me, and that could track its way again further to the southeast if we get a little bit more sunlight, but we haven't built up as much of that storm energy just yet here throughout our viewing area. So again, our southeast hometowns, that's what we were keeping an eye on with this. It's all going to depend on how much sunlight we get here over about the next hour or two, but that time frame for that little break with that sun in the clouds was what we were keeping an eye on. And it looks like it's trending a little bit later now too here with the system.
Yeah, I got a nice break in the clouds out in Des Moines. Also most of east central Iowa. Nice break in the clouds coming through there as well. And that's the break, that we were kind of concerned with as we got into this afternoon. But now the speed of this thing coming in, it looks like it's not going to have much time to generate anything in terms of, notable severe thunderstorms this afternoon. Still an isolated risk is certainly there. So when it comes to, find the cold front, where is the cold front? Well, it looks like it's still kind of back just to the northwest here because we still have all these 50s and temperatures near 60 degrees. So it's not here yet, but it looks like it's on the way, and that'll be arriving for this afternoon. And Peter, I was just showing you this here during the 11. We had a big, de-escalation in the severe storm zones, and kind of showing how this is all shifting now to the south and to the east. And we'll pull those up and zoom right back into our region. Notice how this has gone down since earlier this morning.
Yeah, this is really decreased. Again, this was at the, I believe, 11:30 that came out here. This was at 11:30 earlier. Again, this level 2 threat was kind of shifted a little bit here, right along that Mississippi River, pretty much the Illinois side of the river. That's where we saw that 2 threat, and that 3 threat was actually kind of into portions of, say, Knox County, into Stark County, into Bureau County as well. But again, that's all shifted because that's where Andrew was just showing you about 3-4 minutes ago, that storm energy, that's kind of all where it's lying in the southeastern portions here of the state of Illinois. The Quad Cities, yeah, we're still at that 1 threat. It's very isolated, severe possible thunderstorms when you're in that level 1 out of 5 threat. For the southeast, yeah, again, along I-39, maybe we could be seeing that level 2 threat, but that's what we're keeping an eye on for these systems. That's kind of right along that border where we are seeing that severe thunderstorm warning, or we did see that severe thunderstorm warning. I know it's only got 1 minute left, or it could have been taken down by now, Andrew. Did they take that one down?
Yeah, we'll go back to the radar and get just one more update here. And it's still there, but again, that's going to be expiring literally any second now as we come up on the 12:30 time frame here. So right now it looks like just some heavy rain is headed back into Geneseo, right along the Interstate 80 corridor. So that's going to be a fun drive home here shortly for yours truly. Also, quite an electrified storm moving up there too.
I was gonna say, I hope Cooper's okay, safe in his bathtub.
I'm sure he'll be in the bathtub
Yeah.
when I get home
Yeah.
here shortly, but that's okay. He's a smart dog. He knows what to do, which is good. Should we go to the velocity one more
let's
time?
check it
Just to
one
kind of
more
poke
time.
around? Yeah. And then we'll give you a general synopsis, and then we'll go ahead and we'll let you get on with the rest of your day while we continue to watch it.
Oh yeah,
it's
nothing really there.
kind of a nothing burger right now. Looks
Mm-hmm.
like things have really calmed down in terms of rotation. So could still be some gusty winds, of course, with that storm as it's moving through. Some of those brighter reds that you're seeing here along the Interstate 80 corridor, those could be winds up to 50 miles an hour. But as of right now, that severe thunderstorm warning with the tornado potential tag has been allowed to expire. So that's some good news there. And as Peter just showed you again, we're going to keep a watch on the radar as we go through this afternoon, especially for areas that are just west of Interstate 39. I think that is an area worth watching for some isolated development. But as of right now, even that threat is starting to wane. So Peter, what you think?
This is not too bad.
Think we got the all clear?
I think we're all clear. Again, just those wind gusts, make sure maybe watch out for those strong winds, and out in Princeton, being maybe some heavy rain, but beyond that, everything's looking to kind of wrap itself up, just this one little line. As of right now, obviously there's still more behind it, and we'll continue to track it here today,
Yeah.
but as of right now, I think we're all clear here on that.
We'll put one more tracker on just this whole line in general.
Yes.
If you're curious as to where it's going to go. So let's get our little tool up here, and this is all heading to the northeast. So we're moving in this direction here. So there's your time of arrivals. I'll scoot those back over here. There you see Geneseo at about 12:40. We get that into same time frame for Peru, LaSalle, Peru, and then into Ottawa, Manlius, and then that Nortonville, I believe, might be out of the area. Or
I believe that is. I think it's kind of right on that border.
yeah, kind of getting into LaSalle County there.
Yeah.
So again, we have no warnings in place right now that has been allowed to expire. Just checking in with the National Weather Service in the Quad Cities. Again, they do not plan on issuing another severe thunderstorm warning for Bureau County as that storm has really kind of quieted down. So with that, we're going to go ahead and we'll take another break from our 8+ stream here on our 8+ app. We will keep the interactive radar, or that radar loop, keep going for you. Should something further develop, we'll certainly let you know. And of course, if it is life-threatening, property-threatening, we'll let you know on air as well. But I want to thank you for joining us here on this 8+ stream. Don't forget, if you have a friend, family member that has a smart TV, this is a true needed resource to get you the best comprehensive coverage of severe weather in the Quad Cities. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. We'll keep an eye and track things here as we go throughout the afternoon.
Continue with us and watch free now on the 8+ app everywhere you stream.